That's the hour now. Republican-led investigation now into the Biden family business, moving along in the House. And now members, they want to talk with the president's brother, James Biden. Will that happen? Team Fox coverage. Andy McCarthy's got the legal analysis. But let's start with the reporting. And David Spunt, live in Washington with more on that. David, nice to see you. Good morning.
Hey, Bill, good to be with you. James Biden is the president's younger brother. House Republicans believe that he's sitting on some important information. Unlike Hunter Biden, they say James is being cooperative, and they do expect him to talk eventually. We have a picture of James Biden. Again, he is the president's younger brother. Looks a little bit like the president. He's remained close to the president over the years. He once worked at a D.C. consulting firm. Republicans believe he has plenty of knowledge of Hunter Biden's business dealings and how those dealings may be related to the president. House Oversight Chairman James Comer recently subpoenaed James Biden for a closed-door interview. So far, he's being cooperative. Here's Comer.
We're communicating with his attorney. We expect to see him in very soon. I'm going to hold off criticism of the president's brother. Obviously he has due process, and we have heard from his attorney. We're trying to make that work, and I feel like that'll happen soon.
And it turns out that James Biden was swept up in part of an FBI investigation into a Mississippi attorney named Richard Dickey Scruggs. James Biden once did business with him. According to the Washington Post over the weekend, the FBI secretly recorded conversations with the president's brother. Scruggs went to federal prison. James Biden was not the subject of the investigation, was never charged or accused of any wrongdoing. Nevertheless, he was involved peripherally in that probe. Meanwhile, his nephew Hunter is fighting not only a congressional investigation, but two court cases, one for federal firearms charges in Delaware and tax charges in California, where he's lived since 2018. He has yet to be arraigned and enter an initial appearance there. He ignored a subpoena to testify last week behind closed doors, and House Republicans want to move forward with contempt of Congress. It's likely James Biden will come in after the new year, given the House is out until then. Bill, Dana.
Okay. All right, David. Thanks, David Spunt. Tease up that perfectly. Dana.
Well, let's bring in Andy McCarthy, former Assistant U.S. Attorney, Southern District of New York, also a Fox News contributor. You wrote about this not too long ago. And I remember seeing it and thinking, oh, I need to make sure I read that. Just so that everybody understands, what did you pick up on that is now being made more widely public?
Well, Dana, the story of CEFC, which was this basically Chinese regime intelligence operation that was kind of masqueraded as a global energy conglomerate, but was really part of China's Belt and Road Initiative. They had dealings with the Bidens that went back to 2015 while Joe Biden was vice president. And the information that's been reported that's come out about that is that they started to trade on the Biden name while Joe Biden was vice president. There was, right after he got out of office in around March of 2017, there was a $3 million payment, $1 million of which went to the Bidens. Then they discussed this deal that was going to involve the Biden family, not just Hunter, but Jim Biden and Joe Biden as well, where it was either going to be they were going to pay them $10 million a year just for introductions, or they were going to go into this energy infrastructure business, which might be much more lucrative and have a 50-50 split. That's where we heard the famous stuff about 10% for the big guy. It's in connection with those transactions. And that's the same transaction where Hunter Biden has the WhatsApp message where he says, I'm sitting here with my dad, and basically, where's the money? And within a few days, the Chinese pay $5 million. And it's in that connection that Hunter takes a $400,000 slice of that, and 10% ultimately does get to the big guy. He pays part of it to Jim Biden, and within a short period of time, a check for $40,000 gets written from the Biden's personal account to now President Biden.
And so, that's where in the memo line on the check she writes loan repayment to Joe Biden.
Right, which mirrors a second transaction where Jim Biden is trying to get a business arrangement in the Middle East with this troubled healthcare company, gets them to pay him, in one instance, $200,000, and on the same day, he writes a check or his wife writes a check for the very same amount, $200,000, that goes to Joe Biden. And again, it's his loan repayment in the memo line.
That's pretty interesting. Okay, I want to also ask you about this, because we were just talking with David Spunt about the fact that Hunter Biden did this stunt last week. Jen Psaki is the former White House press secretary. She wants President Biden to win again. Here's what she said over the weekend about Hunter.
If you're sitting in the White House right now, you're like, please, Hunter Biden, we know your dad loves you. Please stop talking in public. This is not helpful to any of them for him to be out there. But at the same time, the president loves his son. That takes precedent over anything else.
Does the legal strategy and the political strategy, legal for Hunter Biden and political for Joe Biden, are they on a collision course?
Yeah, I think they've already collided. I mean, the time to worry about what Jen Psaki is talking about was before Hunter got indicted, when they were trying to make that whole case go away. But now, obviously, he's indicted in not one but two cases. So, he's going to be out there publicly, as is his lawyer, speaking. And that's going to be excruciating for the president. And the thing I think about the Washington Post report that David was speaking about is, I'd be very concerned about that. There's kind of a confluence of events that we've seen. David Axelrod says maybe Biden shouldn't run. There's a Wall Street Journal report this weekend where, it seems like Obama is saying the same thing.
Yes, I saw that.
You've got now 2 indictments. And now this report, what astonished me about it is not just the details. This is a 4,000 word report, which means they spent weeks on it. They could have dropped it at any time. And it dredges up stuff that's been kind of vaguely known for years.
Right.
And that Joe Biden must have thought that he had, survived that long ago. And here it is again, right at a time when a lot of top Democrats are saying, maybe time for him to get out.
It's one of those what lies beneath scenarios. Andy McCarthy, thank you. And good luck to your son tonight calling those high school hockey matches.
Yeah. Bring it home.
Thanks, Dana. Appreciate it.
Take care.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.